I'm romance author Nancy Harkness, and this is Writer Unedited number 79, where I sit at my writing desk and chat about whatever is going on in my writing and sometimes personal life these days. I'd say no fancy clothes, but I'm wearing a crown today, so obviously I am feeling fancy. If you miss a live, you can always find it on my YouTube channel, and I'll put a comment in below. So Cindy says that Elena says hello. Hi, Elena. Hello back to you. So good to have you here. Okay, so I hope everybody had a really wonderful, relaxing, excuse me, Memorial Day weekend. Let summer begin. Although the weather has certainly not been cooperative about summering. Some places it's quite violent. Have you seen the size of those hailstones in Texas, I think it is? I mean, they're enormous. Can't imagine having that hit your car, your house, your trees. Ouch. But it will be summer. It will. The weather will improve. It will be summer. So why am I wearing this giant crown? Well, it's because I'm feeling very royal and triumphant. And why is that? Well, because Royal Kaleva Louise won the New England Reader's Choice Award, first place in the New England Reader's Choice Award for long contemporary romance. And I'm very proud of Louise, and it makes me feel like a queen. So I suppose that he should really be wearing the crown, technically speaking, since he won. But I'm especially pleased to win this contest because it's been around a long time. It's very prestigious, and the judges who judge it are real experts on romance. They are devoted readers of romance, librarians, booksellers. They know what they're talking about, and if they think Royal Kaleva Louise was worthy of first place, then I am thrilled by that because as I said, they're really experts and they've been doing this a long time. So many thanks to the New England romance writers who sponsor the contest. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the honor. So Sharon says congratulations. Thank you, Sharon. I'm thrilled by this, obviously. But I'm wearing a crown for a lot of reasons. So let's go into book news. So good news, Raoul's cover is final now. And I just sent out my newsletter with the final cover in it. So make sure you check your inbox. And if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, make sure you subscribe to it. So next month you'll get it, because I'm still working on the blurb/book description for Raoul, which I need to finish before I can put it up on Amazon. But as soon as I do that, and I intend to do that in the next several days, I will be putting Raoul up for pre-order. And pre-order means you can order it now, and it will land either on your Kindle or on your doorstep on the day it releases, which I'm planning to do in mid-September. I don't have a firm date yet. I have to look at the calendar. But I give it to you for a reduced price of $2.99 on Kindle, all during the pre-order period and through the first week of release. So it's good to be notified of when it's available, because then you get it for a cheaper price. And of course, as always, I will be donating a percentage of my royalties to an animal rescue organization. And I've asked Dr. Darling Daughter to nominate one that she is particularly, feels is particularly effective and needs the money, of course. That's important. So make sure you're subscribed. Keep your eye out on your inbox. And Raoul will be coming your way. So let's see what other comments. Sharon said, well deserved. Oh, thank you, Sharon. That's so nice of you. I really appreciate that. So, I had a working Memorial Day weekend because my developmental editor sent me back her notes, her editorial notes. And a couple of readers have asked me what exactly a developmental editor focuses on. So I thought I would actually share some of her notes with you. She also makes notes on the manuscript. But I'm going to share her sort of overall evaluation notes with you, because they're the overarching issues. And I'm going to, oh, wait. Cindy says, congrats from us here in Brooklyn. Thank you guys, appreciate it. So I'm going to start with the good stuff in the notes, which is another reason why I'm wearing my crown, because it makes me feel like a queen to hear all the nice things that she said. But it's not just because it makes me feel good. It's actually just as useful to know what I'm doing right as it is to know what I'm doing wrong. You need to play to your strengths, obviously. So the things she thinks I'm doing right are the things I want to emphasize, make sure I don't cut when I'm editing, and, you know, maybe add to even a little bit. You never know. So here are some of the things that my terrific developmental editor said. And by the way, I have to tell you that I virtually always agree with what she says needs fixing. I sometimes need to get clarification on it, you know, on what exactly it is she has a problem with, but she's always right. She's always right that these things need fixing. I'll be honest. That's why I work with her book after book, because she understands my voice, which is really important. She understands my commitment to making the book as good as I can make it. And she's committed to helping me do that. And that's tremendously meaningful to me. So she says, these are overall impressions. You've brought readers back to a world they love, rich with magic, emotional depth, romance, and vivid sensory detail. The richly imagined royal legacy, amazing dragons, yes, the dragons are in this book, sweeping love stories, and the family ties that span the series are all brought together gratifyingly in this book. It's a novel full of heart, honor, passion, and steamy love scenes. Readers from past books and new ones alike will find themselves enchanted. I love that, enchanted. That's such a nice word. You've skillfully woven just enough backstory to welcome newcomers without bogging down the pacing, and for longtime fans, it's perfect. So I do worry always, because this is the third book in the series, whether I've put in enough backstory to help readers who are coming into the series on the third book, but not too much to bore you wonderful, supportive people who have read all the books before it. And that's always a balancing act, of course. And I think I mentioned that I had a cold reader go through it. She'd never read any of the other Royal Kaleva books, and I wanted that, and to see if she found there were holes in the backstory she needed to have filled. And she said no, so that was good. So Patricia, hi Patricia, so good to see you here. Thanks for coming. Okay, so let's go on to strengths. So these are the things she thought I did particularly well, and as I said, this is just as important as knowing the things I didn't do well, because I want to play these up. So she said, Raoul and Erica's love story. Their arc is both emotionally grounded and sensually charged. The tension is palpable from their first meeting and builds beautifully throughout. The love scenes are passionate and the emotional intimacy feels earned. That's important that they earn that, right? Their intense chemistry is undeniable. Woohoo! I like intense chemistry. Next, dragons and the nesting season. I told you there were dragons, right? Using the dragon nesting season as a backdrop adds richness and originality to the world building. These creatures continue to elevate the narrative and enhance the setting in magical, symbolic ways. I love them. So you remember that there was a dragon scene in Louise's book where they go to see dragons. Louise arranges this wonderful trip up into the mountains. And so I wanted to continue, because I love dragons, right? And I wanted to continue to use them. And keep in mind also that the royal family's surname is Dragon, the Spanish word for dragon. So they took that early on in their reign to, because dragon sounds very fierce. So, and kings always want to be fierce. So yeah, the dragons play a significant role. So Patricia says, just saw the cover in the newsletter. OMG, hot. Yay! I'm so glad you like it, Patricia. I think it's really good. I always love my latest cover. I'm very fickle that way. I thought Gabrielle's cover was the best cover ever. And then I thought Luisa's cover was the best cover ever. And now I think Raoul's is the best cover ever. He really, really, they all do. But he just really looks like Raoul to me. It was funny. It was just like immediately, that's my cover model. Okay, next strength, sensory writing and setting. The vibrant sensory descriptions from the scent of the flowers to the chill of the ocean are spectacular. The detailed setting is rich and lush. I love that. I do like setting. I think setting is really important in a book where you've got a fictional country, like I do. Backstory balance. With one small exception, she says, some backstory around King Louis. You've done an excellent job integrating past history from earlier books in a natural and informative way. Yay! Okay, strong entry scene opportunity. So here's a place where she thought I needed to fix things. Introduce Raoul, because Raoul is the first scene in the book, is Raoul's the main character. Introduce Raoul in his full power, handsome, noble, in command. So what happens, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to ruin the first scene, but what happens in that scene feels more emotionally impactful. Add the royal setting and sensory details to enrich the scene and bring the readers in before the thing that happens. Otherwise, this is a very compelling opening chapter. So I've actually already, that was one of the things I did this weekend, I've actually already written that new material to show Raoul in his power pose before the thing that happens. I know that sounds very ambiguous, but vague. Deliberately said. Don't want to ruin the first scene for you. Let's see. Pam's here. Hi, Pam. So good to see you. Hi, Nancy. Signed up for your newsletter. Yay. Can't wait to dig into the books that were in the newsletter. Fantastic, Pam. I'm so glad. Thank you for signing up. I really appreciate it. Okay, so now there are the issues that I have to address, right, to make the book better. So, character and plot notes, she says. Raoul's strength and heroism maintained him as a strong hero figure with vulnerability in an endearing way, while his past trauma adds depth. Avoid overemphasizing it. Okay, good advice. I probably did that a little too much because I wanted to make sure the reader understood what's underlying his actions, right? But you can overdo that. Then Erica, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to read this to you because it would give away too much, but so something happens to Erica in the third to last scene. That's a physical issue, and I completely forgot about it in the last scene. And it's kind of important because of what's going on in the last scene. Just completely forgot about it. Completely forgot. So my editor pointed that out and said, you need to deal with that thing that happened to Erica in this scene. So I basically had to rework that entire last scene, which was long, because I want you to enjoy their final getting together. Not the epilogue. The epilogue is a whole different thing. But the final scene in the story's flow. So that was a lot of work. But it absolutely needed to be done, of course. Okay, then there's Erica's fear of the ocean. Her fear is established, but could be deepened by adding more backstory that would heighten the bravery of her later ocean scene. So I have it in there. I just need to do more. And I get that. And I've even found a couple of places to do it already, although I haven't written them yet. Okay, then the romantic day away scene. This section feels abruptly ended. A few more emotional beats could help this land more fully. And then there's a flashback right after that, and she says, consider dramatizing this moment as it happens rather than relaying it in hindsight for stronger emotional impact. So the funny thing is that's a scene that I knew I had ended too quickly. I had sort of gotten what I wanted out of it, and I was starting to get bored myself, so I thought, I don't want to bore the reader, so I'm just going to end it here. And that was too soon, and I think I kind of knew that. Odette's plot line, you remember Odette, the evil Odette, yes, she's in this book too, needs clarity and plausibility. Re-examine her scenes to better integrate her into the overall story arc. I found some of her motives and actions out of character from how she was portrayed in earlier books. Yes, she is weakening, but it still could use more polish. So we actually had a long conversation about that this morning, about what exactly it was that she was troubled by in that plot line. And so I have all kinds of new good ideas to work on that. Mikhail's availability, his absence at key moments feels overly convenient. Consider ways to improve realism. So we also talked about that and came up with a solution to that issue, because I actually had a reason for that, but I didn't state it clearly. And so she said, once I do that, it'll be fine. Mystery and plot. The mystery plotline is compelling and well-structured, with a well-paced rise and fall of tension and well-placed, a lot of wells there, clues. It adds depth to the romantic and fantasy elements and supports the narrative without overshadowing it. Yay, so that was a good thing. Dialogue and humor. The dialogue sparkles with charm and natural rhythm. I love that. Charm, I love charm. And there is a strong sense of humor woven throughout, balancing the heavier themes with lightness. And that's what I always try to do. I think a lot of us use humor to sort of to balance the darker things in our lives, and I think it's important. So, it was nice to hear that worked. Let's see, Pam has a question. So, are your books romance, history, or both? Oh, they're romance. Absolutely, Pam. Total romance. The history is just the backstory, because this is the third book in the series, and so things have gone on in the first two books that I want to make sure you know enough of, so that this book makes sense to you. Because you can absolutely, all the books can be read as standalones. You do not have to start at book one. It's better if you do, because there's a lot of, as I said, a lot of building of the characters, but they are romances first and foremost. Absolutely. They have some suspense elements in them, but they're not even romantic suspense. They're the romance is front and center. Eileen says, love Raoul's cover. Oh, I'm so glad, Eileen. Yay. Yeah, I'm really happy with it, I have to say. Really happy. Okay, so then on to technical notes. Word usage. Watch for overuse of the word so throughout the manuscript. A light pass to very phrasing would improve flow. There is always one word that I use too often in every book, and it's always a different one. One book I used the word just way too often. I'm trying to think. There was another one where my characters leaned all the time. They were always leaning on something or leaning over. I don't know. For some reason, leaning. Trying to think what else. I don't know, but this one's so. See, using it again. I have to go through and cut at least 50% of these so's from this. Possibly more. Then another technical note, name density in opening pages. Consider simplifying by using titles instead of full names for minor characters to prevent reader overload. Can you remove or clarify other names, especially in the first 10 pages? So, of course, that's another issue when you have the third book in the series. You've already set up enough characters that that it's hard not to use their names, but I actually cut out two names in that scene, so that were used repeatedly. So hopefully that helps. Okay, let's see what else. Eileen says hi. Hi, Eileen. Pam says, oh, okay, sounds good. So the ones in your newsletter, are they the first books in the series? I'm not sure which newsletter you're talking about. If it's the one in my automation series that you start getting when you sign up. The first book in the series is Royal Kaleva Gabrielle. The second book in the series is Royal Kaleva Luis. And this Royal Kaleva Raoul is the third book. Now there is a novella, a free novella that you get when you sign up for my newsletter called How to Plan a Royal Wedding. That actually should be read right after you read Gabrielle's book. So it's Gabrielle, How to Plan a Royal Wedding, Luis, and now there will be Raoul. I hope that helps. And then there was a final note. King Luis's relationship with Raoul. A touch more insight into their father-son dynamic early in the story would enrich character depth. So we also talked about that, my editor and I this morning, because I wanted to know sort of what direction she wanted me to go with that. And she said, just kind of develop the father-son, king-son with more depth. And fortunately, there's a scene right after the first one where Raoul and his father, Luis, the king, are together. So that's where I can fix that issue up, and it's a perfect place to do it. It really helps to know where to do these things, because I will have to go through the whole book to make some of these changes, like the one where she said, don't emphasize Raoul's wound of the kidnapping quite so often. That means I have to go through the whole book and look for every place that I've talked about that in the story, and, you know, make sure that arc works, you know, that I smooth that arc out. So, but this, the relationship between Luis and Raoul, I can fix that in scene number 2, and that's always a relief, because I don't have to comb through the book going, where am I going to put this? Where am I going to put this? It's the perfect place. So the truth is, while I find editing utterly exhausting, because you have to I just have to be so laser focused all the time, it's also really fun to let the ideas percolate for how I'm going to fix the issues, particularly after I just talked to my editor and we sort of started hashing out, you know, what direction to go to fix certain things. It's really, I really enjoy that. It's kind of like, you know, adding pieces to a puzzle that you were missing maybe. And sometimes I just have to add 1 or 2 lines to fix it. Sometimes I have to write all new material, like I did right at the beginning of the first scene. And sometimes I have to rework an entire scene, like I did in that last scene where I had forgotten something. But it always improves the story, and that's what I aim for, because I want to give you guys the best book I possibly can, because frankly, you deserve that from me. That's what I owe you, and I feel very strongly about that. So that's why I do so much editing. That's why I have 4, count them 4, editors go through every book. It's the cold reader, the developmental editor, the copy editor, and the proofreader. 4 editors. And of course, every time I get feedback from one of those people, I go through and edit with their comments in mind. So it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it, because at the end, I am proud of the book that I can give to you. So that is everything I have to say today, I think. So remember to sign up for my newsletter. Pam, thank you again for doing that, so that you know when Raoul is up for pre-order, so you can grab it for just $2.99 on Kindle. And then it lands on your Kindle right on release day automatically, which is really fun. And yes, all the orders, all the pre-orders count toward my contribution to the Animal Rescue Organization. People always ask me that. So yes, everything from now, well, from the time when I put the book up for pre-order through the end of the first week counts toward the Animal Rescue donation. So you can know that you are not just supporting me, you are supporting friends of my cats, Skoda and Mobies. So I will be here again next week at 2 p.m., my usual time, barring unforeseen disasters, of course, but I don't foresee any, obviously. So thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate it. It's always a delight to have so much company. I've had lots of fun people here today. Pam says, oh, thank you. You're so welcome, Pam. Thank you for asking. I'm so glad you did. And Pam says, that's awesome. Good. I'm so glad. Yeah, I love animals, so I always like to support them with my books. So Eileen says, congrats on the win for Luis. Thank you. Thank you. That's why one of the reasons I'm wearing my crown is because Luis did good, right? Karen says, have a great rest of your day. Happy editing. Thank you so much. Yes, back to work for me, I'm afraid. But that's okay. As I said, it's how I make the book better, because I want it to be better. All right. Thank you guys for coming. Love you all. Take care.